talked about, the world not always being conducive to our practice, or let me rephrase that. We're not always surrounded by conditions that are helpful. I can't even say that because even bad conditions can remind us. But what I'm getting at is the Arya Sangha. When we were doing the yoga exercises this morning, we sort of remembered and called in Samantrabhadra and Vajrasattva. And could you talk a little bit about how that works?
How what works?
How we can come to actually really rely on them in their inspiration, what they represent.
The Arya, or noble Sangha, means at least practitioners on the path who have attained a certain level that we call a bhumi, or a ground of bodhisattvas. They have genuine realization of both the nature of their own minds and the nature of apparent phenomena. Appearance and emptiness, sound and emptiness, thought and emptiness. And so they no longer do anything out of the force of delusion, that is, through the force of forgetting or failing to recognize or remember that true nature of their own being or the nature of phenomena. So all of their conduct, all of their activity is the spontaneous outgrowth or outflow of the qualities that naturally arise through such realization, that is, spontaneous compassion, loving kindness, power, skillful means, and the rest of the paramitas. And so it is, when we think about it that way, it's hard to really conceive of anyone or anything more worthy of serving as a reliable support for our own fledgling novice efforts to develop that kind of realization, those kinds of qualities within ourselves. It goes back to what I was saying before, of understanding what it is that we are really taking refuge in. That's the second level of faith, a kind of confidence that comes from being well informed, of really seeing, understanding, and appreciating the qualities that are the signs of real progress on the path, let alone complete fruition and accomplishment of the path, which is full awakening or enlightenment. What I often say is, as I was saying earlier about bodhicitta, that it's just a natural quality at this level of training to be genuinely interested in the welfare and well-being of others. It's what brings you joy in your own life. So I often say, if you want to find happiness, would you rather learn about how to be happy from someone who is happy and out of their happiness just naturally wants to share that with you? Or would you rather learn about happiness from someone who wants to sell you a program for being happy so that they can get something back from you? The Arya Bodhisattvas, the noble Sangha, are those who are there to guide us through their teaching and through their example, because nothing gives them more satisfaction. It is who they are. It is who we will be when we arrive at that level. Okay?
Hello, Tulku. I was just sort of formulating some thoughts about enjoying the Dharma and how, sometimes when it just is very enjoyable and wonderful, I mean, not to get ahead of myself and think, well, I'll be, I know that I'll be away from retreat soon enough and all that. But I think that it seems like that's almost, I don't know, not really a virtue in itself, but maybe like if it's I guess distinguishing when it's just like a temporary thing versus it's like a little energy that's kind of coming into your, I don't know, self.
We talk about the 7 branches of practice, like homage, offering, confession, rejoicing, and so on. It's a very common feature of Vajrayana practices that one part of the practice is called the 7 branches, where we go through these different kinds of reflections and meditations. One of them is called rejoicing. Rejoicing in the good that is thought, felt, spoken, or done by ourselves and others. And when we see, oh, this was a good thing to do, something really positive has happened, I feel good about that, I rejoice in that, then the goodness of that is magnified, whether we've done it or someone else has done it. So it's just kind of a catalytic process, you know? So it's good. It's good to have that kind of experience that, oh, something really good is happening through this Dharma practice that I'm doing. It helps.
Thank you, Lama. Kind of going along with his question, I think every Lama has a different quality, and for me, when I'm with Lama Surya Das, it's so joyful and like ecstatic, and I mean, I liked your joke.
I warned you.
I liked your joke. I mean, you had a good joke. But nothing against you. but I feel like that that kind of bliss, that kind of ecstatic joy, in a sense, for me.
That's because he's really a Hindu.
I want my money back. I feel like it might kind of feed into my ego a little bit, into that part of my mind which is seeking happiness, or kind of, I worry that it's almost a pitfall sometimes that to have as much fun as I have on retreat. I mean, I know that sounds kind of silly, but like honestly, the amount of bliss that whatever, like an adrenaline rush, or like an endorphin rush or something, and then
it's a great blessing to find yourself in circumstances and working with a teacher who can evoke that sense of inspiration in you, that joy of connecting to the Dharma. So that's a beautiful and wondrous thing to appreciate and rejoice in, like we were just talking about. But you can't allow that recreating or reproducing that experience of well-being to become the goal that you're pursuing through your spiritual practice. It gives you energy, motivation, focus, power to keep going on the path, and that's a beautiful thing, a blessing that a teacher can share with you. But just having the good experience itself is not the goal. As long as you remember that, that's fine.
Just a small, simple question. The 3rd and 4th levels of confidence
Yes?
are?
I didn't forget those today. The 3rd one was Yiche Chidepa, the faith that is confidence or genuine trust or conviction, which is born of actual personal experience, that the teachings are having the effect upon your being that they were advertised as having, right? And then the 4th level was the irreversible faith. The irreversible faith meaning your own mind nature's faith and confidence in the recognition of itself, where your mind no longer gets lost in thought.
Got it. Thank you.
Rinpoche, can I just ask you, the first 2 translations there on the right-hand side, I'm not sure they're yours, they're mine. Would you like to change them? Simple faith and long faith?
I've not heard simple faith before. I use different terms like the faith of wonder, or awe, or being impressed or deeply struck. So it has that kind of emotional tonality, or the sense of something really stopping your mind in its tracks and making a deep impression, but not having much intellectual content yet. The image of the small child entering the temple. Second one, longing or seeking. Sure, that's fine. Yearning for. Sonam di tamche zikpa nye topne nye pe dranam pamje shing che ga na che balong trukpai sipe tsole drowa drowar sho jampar pao jitar chemba dang kuntu zangpo de an de jinte deda kunji jesu daglo chen gewa dida tamche rautu. Thank you. See you tomorrow.